Welcome to our live webinar called Explain Everything, the Basics. My name is Rashawn Richards. I'm one of the founders of Explain Everything. And also joining me is Sam George. Say hi, Sam.
Hello. I am also part of the Explain Everything team. And Rashawn and I thought it would be useful for those who have been requesting just some of the basics of Explain Everything to create a live demo to share those types of things.
So in today's presentation, which will probably last about 30 minutes, we're going to go through 6 areas that we've gotten a lot of questions about: the design tools, recording, exporting and sharing, real-time collaboration, which is currently only on iOS, but coming soon to the other platforms, just general stuff about the project and home screen, and just about different versions of the app and management. So let's dive in. All the tools that are on the left side here, I'm going to refer to those as the design tools, though there's some other elements like the slide sorter that are also part of design. And I'm just going to do a quick kind of teardown of each of those things. At its base level, Explain Everything is really an animation tool. And anything that I add to what I'll call the stage or canvas is something, when the hand tool is selected, can be moved, rotated with multi-touch gestures, and scaled. I can add new drawings, and that too becomes an independent object, and I can actually move multiple things at once. So it's really open-ended. Drawings, you can change the color of the pen. I can change the thickness of the pen. And there's some other cool little elements here, and I'm going to change my fill here. And when I draw something and I click on this little shaded icon, it'll actually fill in that drawing with whatever is set in the fill and then the stroke in this color picker. There's also, I can erase what I'm doing, and I'll talk a little bit later maybe about how the draw tool works with other objects and erasing. There's a highlighter, so it's just got automatic slight transparency, so you can highlight objects, you can highlight text, and that too is something where you can change the color to whatever suits your purpose. Below the highlighter is a paint bucket, and what it lets you do is fill objects that are closed, even if they're from somewhere else. So like I can just use this paint bucket wherever I want, and it'll color everything until it detects a border of that color. Next are shapes. When most of these tools, when I'm pressing them a second time, you get additional options. And the same thing goes with the shape tool. Let me just change a color here. I'm going to make the border black and the fill yellow. So in the shape tool, I've got a regular rectangle, rounded rectangle, circle, line, arrow, and star, and something I'm going to show in a second called freeform shapes. But any shape I can add, and it too behaves just like all those other things that I had created before. This freeform shapes allows me to just draw the outline or a gesture of certain shapes, and it'll automatically create. If that's not yet on the other platforms, it's going to be there soon. I could add text. I can change the style and font and size and color, and I could even change the color of the background for a text box. So as you notice, everything is behaving the same way. So I'm going to pause there because I do want to talk about kind of some logic things. So I've shown the pen, the highlighter, the bucket, shapes, and text. Those are all things that you're creating from scratch. This X here is the delete button, and it's what lets you delete an entire object, or if I drag anything that's kind of in its general area, I can delete all at once. And so that's how I quickly made or cleared out my space here. The reason I did that is because I want to model some stuff about the draw tool. While I'm drawing, I'm in the middle of creating an active drawing. During that time, I can erase portions of that drawing. But as soon as I either hit this check mark or switch to any other tool, that drawing becomes complete, and now it's an object. I'm going to create another drawing in a red color here. Now I'm going to select the eraser. I can erase part of this drawing, but I cannot erase part of the previous drawing because that got flattened into an object. I can delete it, and now I could also delete the other thing. So that sometimes for first-time users can be a little bit tricky. The other thing about the draw tool is when I write on another object, it will automatically group to it. The reason we built that in was if you were annotating a document or picture, like I'm going to show in a couple of moments, chances are you probably want those things to maintain their relative position, but those things can be detached through a process called ungrouping. One way is just to triple tap on the overlapping area, and it will separate them, or using a more advanced tool called the inspector, which lets you do a whole variety of things that I'll get to in a few moments. I'm going to regroup these, and I'm going to move that over there. So below the text tool, this is where you start to really unlock a bunch of interesting options. I can insert images, I can insert videos, I can insert files from any type of destination or import source. I can import clip art. This is actually pretty new, and this is all on all platforms. And I'll insert a background here. And clip art behaves just like any other object that we've been doing before. And I could add a background. I can add some people. And quickly have independent objects that I can move around and animate on the stage. I can insert a fully functioning web browser. Apologies for my slow typing. And this too is an object that can be moved and rotated and scaled around the page. So it's very open-ended as far as the types of content. There's really no content that cannot be inserted. That's a double negative. Some other tools, I'm going to keep going down here, and we can, if questions come up, we can circle back to some of these really powerful import options. This tool is a cutout tool where I can quickly crop out parts, and it can be rectangular, it could be circular. And let me just give you an example of how this has value. I'm just going to delete all this stuff here. And I'm going to insert a picture. And let's see. Go to my photo stream here. I think I had some nice landscapes somewhere. Let's see. All right, this is a drum set. I could almost create a puzzle from a picture like this where you can have different parts of the picture. Now I'm kind of improvising here. I didn't do it perfectly, but you can take a picture or a sheet of paper or any kind of pre-existing material and quickly make it into separate pieces that can be moved around on the stage, and that's using the cutout tool. We talked about the delete tool already. You can tap one thing, I can select multiple things and delete them. The pointer, I was using that on the first slide. It can call out different parts of what's being shown. Now I've got kind of a double pointer action here because I'm also using something in the app settings that shows everything that I'm tapping on and pressing. And that's just helpful when doing demos. But when you're using this in a classroom or something like that, it might be helpful to use this pointer to call out something on the stage without leaving a mark. All right, so let's talk about the inspector. So I've cleaned up the stage here, and I'm gonna just add a couple more rectangles to show something that you can do with what's called the inspector. So the first is that everything that gets added to this stage is added in layers with the most recent thing going on the top. So when I drag this rectangle, you'll see it's on top, and then this one's going to be on top there. With the inspector, I could pick an object and send it to the back, or send it backwards step by step, and I can rearrange things. In that Arrange tab, I can also align, so I can make them all align and come together like a group. I can have them all align on the bottom so that they look like they're stacked on the same thing. And those are just general common design tools. On the Edit tab, when I select a group of objects, I can group them together, so now they move as one. I can also ungroup them, and this is what I was talking about before, where the word hello had grouped to that rectangle. So I could pick things that aren't even touching and group them together, and they will move as one. I can duplicate things. And a cool little trick here is if you want to duplicate things but hide them, or kind of make it look like this, like a forever cloner, I'm going to pick all those objects. I'm going to ungroup them and take away that hello. And then watch, I'm going to do align center, align middle, and now I'm going to group them, move it over here, and ungroup. And now it looks like I've got like a stack of cards that I'm pulling off of. So that's just by using the inspector and duplicating. I could copy, I could paste, I can deselect everything I've got, and just drew a person. In the edit menu, I could flip the person left, right, up, down. I can make them rotate, or any object I can make rotate. I'll just stop from rotating. And then I can also make an object a background element. And this is important for what I'm about to show next, which is the zoom tool. Oh, sorry, this is an undo and redo, so I can undo and redo moves. The zoom tool gives you access to what we call an infinite canvas. So when I zoom out, I'm able to zoom out on everything on that slide, or zoom all the way in as far as I want forever. Now, the reason that this person is not changing is because I'd set that object as a background element, so it would never move no matter what I did. When I unset it as the background, it will move along with everything else. And you could set anything, an individual object or a whole picture, as a background element. And go back to the inspector. Another thing I can do is I can lock things. So if I didn't want this title to accidentally get moved, I've locked it. So even when I try to move it by accident, it can't happen. And there's all sorts of other interesting locking things. Like, for example, if I lock the vertical position of this rectangle, I can move it left to right very smoothly, but I cannot move it up or down. So that can be helpful, or an interesting effect. Same thing, let's see. I'll lock the horizontal position of this person, and now they can only fall down straight, but I cannot move them left or right. That's actually kind of a cool effect. Whoa, like an action movie. Talked about the color picker. I have an infinite palette of colors I can choose from. You can even add hex or RGB values, and you can even use an ink dropper to select a custom color from the stage. Now, most of these are pretty standard, but say I really liked this gray, I can choose it and say done, and now it'll get added to my colors, and it's something that I can quickly use. Oh, look, those got grouped together. And this is probably the section I was going to spend the most time on, was all the types of content that you could add or import. I made a note before, everything is organized by slides. I can add a new slide. And, oh, this happens to be the background color of the first slide. That's why it's black. In the slide sorter, I can change background color. I can change pattern so that you can have a different kind of set. Oh, I happen to change it for everything. Not sure if I wanted to do that. Oh, well, we'll change it back later. And even some of these backgrounds are dynamic so that you can keep zooming in and out however much you want within that infinite canvas. Okay, so let's talk about the other element of the app. So we've just been working in a flat space just on the canvas. But the other thing that Explain Everything, I guess, is known for is the fact that when I hit this record button, everything that I'm saying and doing and drawing and animating and adding, all of these things are getting captured in real time. And I just popped up the timeline and I'm just manually scrubbing back. And you can see these interactions. I'm just gonna hit the play button. And, oh, you can't hear my iPad speaker, but it's playing back my voice and showing the animations that, that I was doing before. You can get pretty fancy as far as the types of things you can do when recording. You know, if I wanted to do it all over again, I could just rewind and hit record and I'll get prompted if I want to overwrite. Sure, and now I'm starting from scratch and I'm drawing something else, and that all got recorded. And it got rid of what was there before. I can also add on to the end. Now imagine I want to add, you know, a picture. I'm just importing a map. Here's a photograph. And I can annotate, these are white color, kind of one of the main avenues in New York City, and our office is here. That may not be accurate. And if you notice that annotation sticking to the drawing. So those 40 seconds of adding that content are all captured. There are other things you can do, like something called mix mode, where I can layer recordings on top of one another. I can also lock one track and then redo the other. So for example, I might have been very happy with my visuals, but not happy with my audio. So I could hit record again and it will play back what was happening on the stage. So I'm not actually touching anything right now. All the visuals are there, but I'm recording a new audio track, and that's what's being captured there. So it's simple, but then there's a lot of sophisticated things that you can weave into how you're recording.
One question.
Oh, yes, Sam.
Yes. Is there any way to edit the timeline?
There are increasingly more and more ways to edit the timeline. For example, I'm gonna rewind here. You can see I can use two fingers to pinch and zoom in, and there might be some element of what I was doing here that I was not happy with. Like for example, let's see, that dash. So this thing that the red scrubber is going over, I can actually press and hold and delete just one part. So now it's gonna be the finished drawing and then saying hello. There also might be portions where I might want to get rid of a whole chunk of time. I could press and hold on the timeline and choose delete all subtracts from now. That'll crop everything away. Or if I do start selection, I could pick an entire range of time and choose delete or delete and compact. And that'll speed things up so that there's less downtime in between actions. Does that answer your question?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So we've made some content and now it's still sitting on the device. Now we want to be able to share it. And I've brought in some screenshots just to show the flow so that I don't have to leave the application. So this button here, when I press it, it takes you into the export workflow. And that's what I'm gonna walk you through right now, which is, again, this button here that I'm tapping several times. So when you tap it, you get presented with the different formats that you can export in. Video and project goes to our server, Explain Everything Discover, which behaves almost like YouTube, where you can share things as public, private, or unlisted. What happens is you copy the project over the internet to explain everything Discover, and it'll host the video for you and also host the project file in case you wanted to download and edit or share it or anything like that. Let me show you what that flow looks like. So when you choose that, you get the option to give a name, a description, and then you get to choose the sharing type and add categories. And when you hit publish, it just takes a matter of seconds for it to go from being uploaded to giving you a link that you can quickly share. So it's the fastest way to go from content on your device to something that's publicly shared. Now, that being said, there's other things that people like to do. For example, some people want to share the video and send it to places like Dropbox or Google Drive. When you do that, the video is going to be created on your device, so it might take some time to render. It's just something to keep in mind. It generally takes just about as long as your original recording was, or sometimes faster if it's not very complicated. So it's just something to keep in mind. The simpler the project, the faster it is to render. And you can export to all of these destinations, or depending on your device, you can use what are called share intents to be able to send it to really any other location on your device. That was video. Another format is as a PDF, which will just take a flat image of each of your slides and make a multi-page PDF that, again, you can share anywhere. So this is helpful if you're just taking notes and you don't have any recordings and you want to make it something you can share easily. You can also export as an image. You can, down here, you can just choose certain slides to export as an image. And again, those are things that can be easily shared. And finally, the project. This is, called a .explain file. And what that is, it's our own file format that's editable. So it's kind of analogous to a Word document versus a PDF. A Word document is very easily editable, and if you share that, people can get right into it and manipulate it. Whereas a PDF, well, yeah, you can edit some of them, but in general, it's more of a one-directional experience. So the explain file is something you can host anywhere. Again, you could send it to Discover, and it's the kind of the fastest way to share it. Or you could post it in a Google Drive or in iCloud Drive or even on your LMS, and other people will be able to download it and continue working off of it. And this is the open in. So here's an example of when I choose open in, you get all these options. And if I kept swiping in this direction, you would see all of the other places that I could send it to. Those would be other apps installed on this device, or some devices support wireless file transfer, and that's another way to share.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna move on.
That was great.
I'm gonna showcase a feature that has been on the iOS versions for some time and is soon coming to the other platforms. And it's the ability to do real-time collaboration. It gets initiated by pressing this button with the explain everything light bulb on it. And all you have to do is hit start, and it'll generate a code that other people can use to join in. So I'm gonna hit start, and right away the code is made. And even when I close this menu, you'll see it down here, so that Sam or anybody else, if they want to join, oh, I see a message, another user is joining. And so let's see, sure enough, there's Sam. I'm gonna change Sam to view only mode, which means right now he's gonna see exactly what I see. So as I go to slide 7 or back to slide 6, he's gonna kind of follow me. When I give him editing rights, he's gonna be able to draw not only on this slide, but on any slide. So let's see if Sam can say, oh, there he is. Hello. So if Sam keeps working in his view, I can actually be working totally on another side of the same slide. and we can work cooperatively in the sense that we're working on the same canvas but on different areas. Or Sam could go onto another slide or create a new slide, and when I navigate there, I will see what he's created. So actually, I don't know if you just noticed that it went from a 9 count slide to 10. And let's see, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Oh, look at that. What a nice message. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to go back to slide 6 here. So these are things that are possible. My device is serving as the host, so I have the ability to trigger recording, and Sam will get jumped to this slide, and we'll be able to record and screencast together. Let's try it. I'm going to hit record here, and I'm going to add a piece of clip art. Let me add an animal. I'll add the raccoon R. Maybe Sam, you can add the snake S. Oh, there it is. Look at that. And with the dramatic animation to that. But now it actually looks like that snake is attacking the person. But that's okay. And all of those interactions got recorded in this 37-second thing. All right, I'm going to stop the collaboration. One of the things that happened when I started the session, I'm going to hit stop. I'll say okay, is I, as the host, get these options of whether or not people can edit by default, or if they get to keep a copy of it. So I had it on, which means when I ended the session, all participants will actually keep a local copy that they can continue building off. Now, at that point, it kind of forks, so everybody's got their own version. But this way, you can start on something together and then distribute, and people can work individually. So that's a little bit about collaboration. Let me show you a little slide organization here. So I'm going to delete the slide that Sam made. In the slide sorter, I'm going to say delete. There's no hurt feelings there. I'm going to change my my background for all the slides. I just want it to be nice and simple and no pattern. I think it'll apply that. Okay, so that's a nice clean look here. And I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to close that little message. So the project and home screen, when I tap on this button, it's going to take me back to what's called the home screen. And I'm going to show you what it looks like from kind of moment 0, which is the first time anybody opens the app. So let's zoom in. So when you first launch the application, you'll get a prompt and you can press that plus sign. When you do, you'll get this menu of starting a blank project from template, or you can start by importing a picture or set of pictures or documents. You can also do that once you're in a blank project. It's just an option for convenience. I'm going to show what this template picker looks like. Here are some presets that you will be presented with first, or you can choose create a template, in which case you'll be at that screen that I was showing you before, where you can change the background color, the pattern, and the pattern types to whatever you like. I'm going to scroll down here. So now you're looking at my home screen, which has lots more stuff on it because these are all thumbnails of all the projects that I've made over time. I've created folders of projects, and any of these I can go back and re-edit it. What I'm also going to show you now is something called Discover, which when you tap that, oh, sorry, before I do that, let me just show you what this edit button does. You can do certain things to projects when you choose that edit menu. I can duplicate, I can rename, I can move them into a folder, I can delete bunches of projects, I can do a quick export, or I can get more details about the project. And that's all under the edit menu. And hit done and go back to the project screen and tap on Discover, and this is where you would go. These are, it's a community of projects that have been shared by us and by thousands of users all over the world. And you can tap on a project. I didn't mean to do that. You can tap on a project and you can view it right in the app, which is nice. Or you could tap this get button, in which case it's going to take that project file and place a copy locally on your device that you can then go in and remix. So that way you're not always starting from scratch, but you can work using content that other people have helped to make. Within Discover, you can also access all of the content that you've shared there, your own space. So you can be on multiple devices and they can be different platforms. And you can just have one unified place for saving all of your own content if you're working on multiple devices. So, you know, there's different versions of the application. There's versions of our iOS app. There's the versions of the Windows app. Let me actually open up a browser here. Explain everything.com/download. So each of these links takes you to the current version on the respective platforms. So if you're unsure where to go, I would say start here and then choose your correct platform to end up at the right place. For those who are on iOS devices, it's just worth noting that there's Explain Everything Classic, which we've made some announcements about our plans to continue maintaining and updating it so that it works, but it's at some point in the near future will no longer be available for sale. It's not a product we're going to be offering for new purchase anymore, since we've got this new version that's cross-platform available. This is the one that most of you are going to be looking for, and this special version is something that's actually going to be updated in the future. You can basically ignore it. The last thing I want to spend some time on is talking about account management and deployment. Just a quick introduction, which is that via the web, not within the app, if you're a group admin, you go to discover.explaineverything.com, and from there, in your account, there's a place to manage your group's settings. So this account, which was just a demo account, happens to have 60 seats to it, and there are still plenty of seats available. This is a code that can be shared with people so that they can automatically be associated with the group, or I can manually add. And then there's also options for doing a CSV upload, for doing domain authentication, and configuration profiles if you're using MDM. So these are the types of things that once you're in and ready to do kind of a larger deployment, if the self-service options aren't working for you, or you just want to have some guidance, I'd say your best bet is just to email sales@explaineverything.com, and we'll help you figure out the best way to get set up the most quickly.
Awesome. That was super helpful. I don't think I have any questions, but I will email sales if I have any questions about licensing, and then I will email support@Explain Everything if I have any questions about functionality or some of the tools that you just showed me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for participating, and I hope this was helpful.